Bum 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 bum. The Peter Like Show. Bum 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 bum. Happy Thanksgiving. There are two people I want to show gratitude to, and it all started last year at my grandmother's funeral. Something really supernatural happened. I asked my grandmother to go talk to Mary Curry when she makes it to the other side, to have Mary Curry set me up on a blind date and potentially help me network with other people through her family. Obviously, Mary Curry still has living family members here with us, right? And when I got home, something really supernatural happened. Yesterday, I did a quick back of the envelope calculation. The probability of this happening was only one in a quadrillion or something crazy like that. It would be the equivalent of all of my bismuth turning into thallium. That's how rare this event is. And what had happened was I met multiple people who have shared anniversaries, birthdays, all sorts of weirdness with Mary Curry and her close circle. So, two people I'm going to talk about here. I work at a tutoring center now, and something extraordinary happened a month and a half ago. What had happened was that I get along with all of my students, even the ones who make trouble. I still get along with them, and I sometimes can turn things around with them to get them interested in the learning. Right? Unfortunately, what I cannot deal with is if the students are going to make me sick. Right? I have food allergies. They get their allergens everywhere, and that's a hard boundary I'm not gonna bend. Right? I don't want to get. I mean, I don't have any life-threatening food allergies, but to have a reaction at the campus where I can't very easily take a shower or apply my medicine, or even because some of these rashes happen in private parts around my body. Right? I can't deal with it in the office. Right? It would be a completely different story if the student came to my apartment and caused a reaction. Well, I guess they would have to go home, but at least I could deal with it there, right? So that's one hard boundary I have to set. Unfortunately, when I have brought this up at previous jobs, it very seldom goes well. And for the first time in my life, I survive a job, not only survive, but thrive at a job, bringing this up and backing away from the students and keeping myself safe. And in fact, the student and my boss apologized to me. And to be honest, I kick myself more than my boss kicks me over that incident. I got home and I realized how precarious my situation is. Now, at my age, I get to invest $7,000 in my Roth IRA every year. Only the first 2,000 gives you any tax credits, right? So earlier in the year, I had invested 2,000, and I held on to the rest of that because I was hoping the tariffs will be lifted. There are other things I want to invest in. And but after my precarious situation at work, I'm like, that's it. I can't hold off planning for the future. And so I did a little research and I invested the rest of that money, 5,000, into some emerging market stocks. So now looking back at it, I think God was looking over me and gave me a motivation to take advantage of the financial markets. Also, when I did a Google search on Mary Curry's. Well, no, I knew her birthday, but I discovered that my boss turned 58 years old a few days ago, and then I mentally did the math. Wait a minute, she's exactly 100 years younger than Mary Curry, and that was the eighth person that has been introduced to me that had such a coincidence. And like I said, the probability is just astronomical. Two other people I want to bring up of note. We had a trivia event with the community college yesterday, just a friendsgiving kind of event, and one of my not my former student, but a student there, remembered that I had food allergies and made sure I was safe, and in fact helped me tell all of her friends. And she was born exact to the day. Actually, the boss wasn't to the day, but this girl was 100 years to the day since we lost Pierre Curie. And then one of my colleagues at the tutoring center, a lot younger than me, she's going to college and working at the tutoring center. She's very bright, graduated high school when she was 16, I think. And I learned that she was born exactly or 3 days after we lost Eve Curry. And so that makes 8 of us. See, there was the girl in Houston, the girl I met at a book club who's writing a novel, a mystery novel. There was 2 years ago when I first took a vacation here in Phoenix. There was a girl that I missed a connection on, but then I later reconnected, and she was born on the 100th anniversary of the wedding of Mary and Pierre Curie. There was the girl in Taiwan. She was born 50 years to the day we lost Mary Curie. There was the boss, 100 years on the 100th birthday of Mary, or close to it. My colleague who was born right after we lost Eve Curry. That's the only one that's an exact date, not a 50 or 100-year anniversary. Well, not exact, 3 days after, but the same year. And then there was the student at the college that, or close friends at least. Now, the colleague, the one born right after we lost Eve Curry, she was going to talk to her family and see if I can come to their Christmas party. I get to network with a lot of her parents work with software, so and interact with a number of those people, see if there's any career opportunities there, right? I don't necessarily see her as relationship material, but career material, definitely. Now, it gets me excited. Yesterday, I was thinking, what other anniversaries have I not hit yet? And it dawned on me, Irene Curry passed away in 1956. So now I'm looking for a middle-aged figure, actually quite elderly figure, who might be a future boss or something. So the other day, I was looking at a job interview, and I looked at the department chair, and I thought, gee, he could be almost as old as that, and it got me a little bit excited. And so that's good. Uh, anyways, please pray for continued good relations with all of these people, especially my boss, the one who's exactly 100 years younger, or at least plus or minus a few days than Mary Curry. Right, my first time surviving a job where I brought up allergy accommodation matters. Now, 8 of them, each one of them, you got to remember, all of these were born within a plus or minus 1 week period of a big anniversary. If the probability of that was like 1 in 1,000, probably, right? 1/1,000 raised to the power of 8. 1,000 to the power of 8. That's 10 to the 24. That would be the equivalent of all of my bismuth becoming thallium within a year or so, right? This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.